Okay. Are you taping it now?
Yeah, now you are taping it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just a picture you were taking. So, comments about the situation in Korea. I think it's very difficult. It's one of the most difficult situations in the world. Even more difficult than the Middle East. Because North Korea is so unstable and has been so isolated from the world for so long. So it's quite a dangerous situation, and so I think this younger generation has to understand that that they may face some very, very harsh times in the future in dealing with North Korea. I mean, even if, let's say, Kim Jong-il passes away and a new administration comes in North Korea and somehow the two come back together again, even if that happens, incorporating the people of North Korea back into the society is going to be an extremely difficult process. It takes a lot of understanding because there tends to be, you take in Germany for instance, when the two, East Germany and West Germany, came back together, and Vietnam, where we've had the North and the South, and other countries, there tends to be on one side or the other a feeling of superiority. And that's something that has to be overcome, the sense of superiority. And I mean, whether it's on the north side or the south side, I think young people have to be willing to realize that not only does the North have to change, but the South has to change as well in this new situation. And I'm not that familiar with Korea, but my impression from knowing many Korean people here in Hong Kong, and knowing something a little about Korean society, I suppose, is that you have a very prosperous society in the South, economically very prosperous, culturally quite prosperous. Culturally, I mean, it's becoming one of the most, one of the centers, I guess, of pop culture in Asia, and so I think it's going to be necessary for Korea to adapt and to maybe give up some of that, and to try to welcome in people who are, have no idea what the modern world is like, and try to bring them in as brothers and sisters. It's going to be, and so I think that it's going to require some suffering on the part of the people in the South, if they really want to make this work in the future. This is assuming there's no more war. We would hope there's no more war, that this can be resolved with no more war. That's a totally different story. But assuming that the two can come together, it's going to take sacrifice on the part of the South.
And my second, how to overcome the fearness for each other, because actually South Korean young people, actually they don't know exactly the hardness of Korean War or before the occupation, the treasure, but they had some fearness because elder people used to educate us as a fear that they are evil, such like that, and they cannot be one. Then how can we, the young generation, overcome the fearness about the division of Korea or kind of such things? Can you give me some wisdom?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can give you any wisdom, but I'll give you my opinion. And I think that you run into the same problem in the area that I work in mostly, which is interreligious dialogue. And you find a lot of fear among religious groups for each other. And it takes a long time. It's not something that will be overcome in a week or a day or even a decade. It takes generations.
Yeah.
And so that's something that young people have to have is patience. But on top of that, they really need to just be willing to meet the people of North Korea. Find some way to meet them as human beings. Of course, they'll find many differences, but they'll also find many similarities. And I think they have to be able to separate the regime of the North with the people, from the people of the North. Sometimes it's the same thing, but for most people, just like most South Koreans, most North Koreans just want to survive. They want to live. They want to live happy lives, raise their children happily, do the best for their families, care for each other, and you learn that by meeting people and talking to them. Fortunately, the people in the North and South speak the same language, basically, I think. I mean, I think you'll find maybe when the two come back together that there are a lot of ideas that are quite different. But it takes a long, long, long time of simply not having any agenda except to get to know people and accept them. Now, for Christians, this is very important. I mean, this is one of the foundations of Christianity. There's a passage in the book of 1 Peter that says we should honor all people. And that's very difficult. We know about loving our neighbor, loving our enemies. You know, we can rely on that idea. But there's also this idea of honoring people that we're called to do. And it's not easy. It takes a very long time. We have to get to know them. So finding ways to come into contact with people and demanding that the press, the media, portray the people in the North in a realistic, humane way.
Yeah.